Silver King, Crimson Princess, we have captured and arrested this mortal murderer. Yes, I just finished hearing your report. You couldn't find our identification papers? They threw what looked like a wallet into the river when they saw us coming. So you know the basics of fairy magic. Why did you kill one of my fairies? You may speak. Much better. So, I was kidnapped from Earth, tricked into coming here by a fairy who glamored themselves as a kid who needed help. They told me that I was their servant now, and that if I didn't obey them and their people, I'd seriously regret it. They heavily implied that I was about to be assaulted by their dad, who sounds like a creep. So to not deal with any of that, I acted in self-defense. You killed one of my subjects. In self-defense. If you don't believe me, hit me with a truth curse. The rug you're standing on has already been enchanted. Any who stand on it cannot speak false. Really? So pretty. Why are you letting people put their muddy shoes all over it? I think we should curse them to be unable to harm anyone or anything, and then send them to work for the family of the dead. Tempting, but that may cause the family more trauma. Did you not hear the self-defense part? Fae hearing is leagues better than humans, so yes. You're clearly a newcomer to this realm, so let me explain. Mortals do not have the right to self-defense. Not in my kingdom. That is so deeply fucked up. Especially if you have human or mortal citizens. How many uprisings or riots do you have to put down? You sound like my granddaughter. I'm assuming not this one. No, I'm the favorite. That one is long gone. Seeing as they are mortal, Your Majesty, I would be remiss if I did not point out that execution is an option. What happened to fairies don't kill? We don't. That's what mortal executioners are for. It doesn't count if a fairy just gives the order. That math is not mathing. Agreed. Besides, death is so inelegant. We can do better. We can. Captain, you were just saying how we were running low on soldiers. This one clearly already knows how to use a weapon. So you don't kill, but you have a standing army? Made almost entirely of mortals, except for the officer positions. No wonder Bob left. Bob? My fairy boss. Look, I don't like playing this card, but she's a pretty powerful sorceress and she gets pissy when someone in her domain is taken or threatened, even when we can handle it. You have a fairy master. Those are not the words I would use, but, given your guys' whole deal... Sure, yeah, I have a fairy master whom I work for and whom I would like to get back to. You're her bodyguard? Her baker. And occasional criminal consultant. We did deal with the dragon egg thieves together, and the evil witch coven, and that one girl who tried to force a love spell on my coworker. This complicates things. Your master should at the very least be a part of these proceedings. I tried calling her and her ward and everyone else, but AT&T doesn't cover the Fae realm. You are but mortal. I am a Fae king. Contacting them should be no trouble. Who are they? So I don't know her real name, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway. Most people that I know call her Bob, but that's a pretty new thing. Her old school nickname is Lavender or Violet, but when she's pissed off, she goes by the Iron Witch. Let's see. She runs a cafe in Minnesota. It's called Cafe Latte. It's about half an hour from the Twin Cities. We should kill them. What? Now. Yeah, Kels, I'm totally fine. Nicole's not letting me out of her sight, and I won't go chasing weird Fae children into the forest ever again. Alright, catch you later. So Kelly's coming to the rescheduled birthday party next week. That cool? Yes. Glad you like the llama. Sorry to scare you. Not your fault. We've known Bob and Cyrus for so long that sometimes it's easy to forget that a lot of fairies are genuinely genius. Of course they are. They're people. Anything interesting happened while I was gone? Not really. I visited Eric to see if he'd have any ideas. That's how I thought to look for you in the Fae realm. I'll be calling or writing to him to let you know that you're safe. He thought you'd fallen off the wagon. Ha! You know, I'm almost tempted to join you just to rub that in his face, but I also know that if I do, I'm punching him until he stops moving. Fair enough. Also, Husnia used to work for the CIA. Husnia did what now? So we're really just gonna let this go? Let what go? Your bitchy grandpa. Look, I know that he didn't order JC arrested or anything, but it was still his person who kidnapped them, tried to enslave them, and then he was going to punish JC, our person, for defending themselves. He deserves at least a little incineration. That would be awesome, but also, Corvell, please don't. Why not? I'm not going to argue about deserved or the folly of vengeance, even when Jennifer Charles is returned safe and sound. The reason I'm not retaliating against the Silver King, even if I wanted to, is because it would end with all of us dead or worse. You beat him before. Barely. And that was with the element of surprise. Nobody expected me to turn traitor. I also had all of the resources of a princess, gold, information, armies, magical items, all of which were absolutely drained by the end of that war. It has since been 200 years. Ivy's security is better. They have countermeasures against my magic. Any information I have on my enemies or potential allies is well out of date. And while my current community is quite formidable, against Ivy and its allies, we would not win. We could cause a lot of damage, yes, possibly even kill my grandfather and a few of my cousins, but our destruction would be assured. Cyrus told me all about your death threat, and you're a fairy. You can't lie, and you don't bluff. I cannot, and I did not. If he had harmed me by hurting or killing Jennifer Charles, I would have harmed him back with every resource at my disposal. And I would do that, knowing that it would likely seal my doom. Same. I mean, it would have been worth it, but still would have sucked. So why'd he back off if he knew he would win? Because he knows just how much damage I'd be able to do. Empires and countries do not crumble in a single day. It takes a long chain of events, a domino effect stretching over decades, if not centuries. And I would be a very big domino. He's also smart enough to let go of his pride and to play his part in de-escalation, but not if we strike back now. Attacking now would just put us back in hot water, except worse because it would destroy what bargaining power I have. If I'm going to punish him, whether he does right or wrong, why would he do right? Sometimes the villain does not get punished. But as everyone here is returned safe and sound, in this instance, it's easier to make peace with that fact. You might need to make peace with someone else. JC found out about Hysnia. Well, thank you for talking to me about this. I know it ain't exactly comfortable. You're a good sport, Ace. Alright, see you for Easter.
Good morning. Who is that?
Granddaughter, the lesbian one. JC, she loved those cookies. Almost stabbed me with a fork when I tried to steal them. Yes. I'd make them usual, but the display cooler isn't that big, and we like to rotate different treats so it doesn't get boring. I love that you're doing gladiator dates for Ramadan. That is so cute and so delicious. Why do you call them gladiator dates? Because the recipe is literally from the time of the gladiators. They were selling these guys at the Colosseum. They're stuffed with nuts and black pepper. I've got a sunflower seed alternative in case you're allergic. Rolled in salt and then roasted in honey. The flavor profile is so unique. Guarantee you've never tasted anything like it. Well, hell, I'll try serving of that with my usual coffee. A sunflower, please. I do got a peanut allergy. Okay, right there on the screen for you. Thank you. Now that pin means you're pansexual, right? Or am I completely mixing them up? Oh, you're not. Good memory. And I think I remember hearing something about JC over there being bi. To the surprise of absolutely no one. Yeah. You mind if I ask a somewhat personal question? We do not promise answers. How do you know? I mean, did you think you were only one way for a while and then you realized you weren't? Or was it always there? It was always there, but I didn't realize it until high school. Once I had a name for it, then I was able to accept it and claim it. Not me. No, I pushed down any and all thoughts of being queer into a tiny little ball wrapped in anger issues and drug addiction until it almost killed me. Now, why on earth would you do that? Queerphobic family. I thought Kelly was fine with it. Kelly's always been cool, and my brother doesn't get it, but he's never actively caused me problems. My parents are better than they used to be, but they still voted for the orange dictator at least twice, possibly even 3 times, and still don't understand why I'm so pissed at them for it. My older sister and extended family Our nightmares. I can see why I'd stay in that closet. I know Cyrus has never been in the closet, at least not with friends and family, but I think that had more to do with being born in the Fey realm and raised by Bob. I don't even think they have gender norms over there. I mean, Faye's got 99 problems, but sexism and queerphobia ain't any of them. Well, the Cyril farm does have that homophobia. You would think it's still in the 1950s over there, if not earlier, and I never understood why. Everyone's a little gay. There are good, lovely people across the board. You know, I'm happy I had my wife, but before I had a friend who was male, and we probably would have been married instead if people hadn't been so uptight back then. I mean, goodness gracious, you could hardly sneeze, and you'd have the whole neighborhood in your business. Well, that's not a very straight thought, is it? I'm gonna guess no. Nope.